Okay, before we have our quiet time, let's all get on the same page. If you're in the Sparkly book, it's page 236, third line. If you're in the second edition, it's page 195, paragraph 7. If you're in the first edition, it's page 181, third full paragraph. And if you're reading from the JCIM, it's page 99, third full paragraph. Okay, let's take a few moments to be quiet together. Okay. Good evening. And welcome to everyone who's joining us on the internet. Why do you think we have these quiet times before we begin? I mean, after all, Paul could wait in another room of the house before we start and get centered and come out loaded for bear, ready to go. We have the quiet time so that it's easier for everyone to shift gears from the use to which they have been putting their mind to. I mean, after all, let's look at the first sentence. Could any part of God be without His love? And could any part of His love be contained? Now, I'm pretty sure that what that is asking and the context of the question is probably just about as far away from anything you've been doing this past week as anything could be. And we can't just jump into this infinite wading pool, so to speak. Let me ask this. How many of you remembered during this past week to pay attention to the times in which you used your mind to think a mean-spirited thought about someone? So that you could stop in mid-stride and not pursue that thought to its end conclusion. And then, we can look at this first sentence and say, this is wonderful. I'm sure that what it means must be wonderful. But it doesn't really relate to my life. And the reason I hang in here with everyone is because it does relate to your life, and you just don't know it. It isn't that this sort of thing doesn't relate to your life. It's that it doesn't relate to the use to which you put your mind. You are neither behind the point of perfection nor advancing toward it. Now, you all think that you are. And you all think that life is a matter of moving toward your perfection, refining yourself, perfecting yourself. But you aren't behind the point of perfection, nor advancing toward it. You're at that point. But you don't use your mind as though that's the truth. You don't let that be the foundation and the context from which you engage in your everyday activities. And you don't engage in your everyday activities as though that just must be the truth about everyone else I'm dealing with. And as a result, because you are not using your mind on that basis, you see no evidence of the truth and the practical relevance of that statement. And you keep yourself from having revelations. Revelations, sudden shifts of perception, in which your definitions get lost in light of the view you're now seeing. Why? Because you put yourself into alignment to see everything as it is, by using your mind in a way that didn't cover up what everything was. Nothing that we're doing is being done so that you can be the maker of better definitions. More loving definitions. Definitions that are more like what the Father is being. Definitions that are more like what love must really be. You must shift gears. You must shift from becoming to being. Well, how do I do that? What do you mean, being? Shifting to being. How do you do being? You see, you don't do being. You're already doing being. You're conscious, aren't you? You've never had an experience of not being conscious. So you exist. You are. Being is what is happening as you. So, instead of becoming, it's a matter of learning to relax and just be. Just be what? Just be conscious. Just be attentive. Just be curious. Just be open. Well, that doesn't work in the everyday world, Raj. It may not work in the everyday world, but it is the actuality of what is happening in the everyday world. Every single one of you is being. And the being that you are being is not something you are doing. It's because you are already being that you have the opportunity to imagine that you can make up definitions. What's making up the definitions? You are. Well, what is this you? Well, it's what has been called the observing self. It's me experiencing being. So waking up, really, is a matter of slowly or quickly abandoning all of the effort to do, to become, to make definitions, to be creative. To introduce a better concept into the world, to introduce a better idea, to come up with a better mousetrap. As the saying is, build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. Oh, that sounds good, and I hope they bring in money in their wallet. After all, why would I want them to come to my door if it wasn't going to be a benefit to me because I came up with a better mousetrap? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell you how to build a better mousetrap. I'm not going to help you become a better definer of things, a better author, an authorizer of better things. I'm going to help you abandon the desire, the intent, and the commitment to be personally, privately creative. Why? Because in the absence of all that effort, you will find that you are inseparable from creation itself. And you will wake up. You will see, because there will not be in your range of vision all of the static of things and processes of becoming that you have inserted by the use of what I'm going to call creative imagination. In all deference to Mr. Disney, Imagineering is not the key to the future. At least not the future you want. Because when you abandon that and you let yourself abide in the void, in the emptiness, the absence of thoughts and concepts and theories, suddenly, creation that seems to be moving away from you so fast that all you can see is what creation was, will be present with you in the now. And you will be inseparable from creation, the action of, behold, I make all things new, that God is being. And you will experience yourself as one with it. Therefore, being yourself the movement of creation and recognizing it for what it is and the part you play in it for what it is. And suddenly all of creation will be in the now, not moving away from you so that all you see is your best interpretation of what it was. You've got to start finding a connection between what I'm going to call ultimate truth and your everyday life. Because there isn't a separation between them or a distinction between them. And so it means that instead of running your mind on automatic, where all that comes out are boilerplate responses to stimuli that you receive in your day, you actually pay attention. You get off of automatic pilot. And you don't bother to engage the boilerplate responses, the knee-jerk reactions. And because you're paying attention, you can respond to what is really going on, which will be pertinent, not impertinent. Not impertinent. Your boilerplate, knee-jerk responses are impertinent. They're not pertinent to what's happening. They're pertinent to a way of interacting with another so as not to have to pay attention enough to know what's really going on so that your responses can be pertinent. Now, that's not really convoluted, and you really do understand what I said. You want to be able to be real, here and now. And in order to be real, you're going to have to be in touch with what's going on. You're going to have to be willing to be present with your brothers and sisters and neglect to let these mean-spirited but ever so delicious negative thoughts cross your mind and lick your experiences with ugliness that doesn't kill and only hurts a little bit. It's time to shift gears and stay shifted during the week. Let's go to the book. Could any part of God be without His love? Could any part of all that is? Could any part of all that you're experiencing be without His love? And could any part of His love be contained? Boiled down to a nice, neat little definition. God is your heritage. Your birthright, your inheritance, is from the Father. And your Father is your heritage. Because His one gift is not a capacity to love, not exceptional beauty, not a quick wit, not things that work well in social settings or get you ahead. His one gift is Himself. His one gift is what He is. Well, the big question is, what is God, right? Well, you don't have to look any further than yourself for the answer. But I must qualify that because as long as you hold yourself as separate, independent, an orphan, somebody on his or her own, you cannot experience what you really are. And so what the Father is will escape you. But again, here's the truth. God is your heritage because His one gift is Himself. How can you give except like Him if you would know His gift to you? So you must become like him. Well, how do you become like him? Well, remember, we've been talking about the fact that your attention is God's treasure. Your attention is like a key. And you give your attention to 1,000 things a day. But when you give your attention to the Father by saying, Father or Holy Spirit, what is the truth here? What is the ultimate truth here? What does the presence of God look like right here where there seems to be a difficult situation to my perception? When you bring your attention to the Father, it's like aligning the key with the keyhole so that the key can slip in. It's the way you practice fitting in. You see, your normal day, everyday experience is never a matter of trying to fit in with some universal order. It's always a matter of independent activity, assertive activity, activity that declares your difference from everyone else, because of course you're unique. And I've said before, God never stopped to repeat himself. So you can't be someone else, and someone else can't be you. But life isn't about demonstrating the difference. Life isn't about asserting the difference. Life, existence, being, is about fitting in with infinitely individualized God, which is what all of your brothers and sisters and all of creation is. And so although God and the consideration of God seems not to be particularly relevant to your daily life, you've got to come to the point of acknowledging that it has to be, that God has to be relevant, and then become curious to see it so that you align your attention with the keyhole. So that you align your attention with the order of things. Because that's the way you prime yourself for a miracle, a sudden shift of perception that casts everything in a new and truer light, so that you behave relative to everything in a new way that doesn't continue to reconfirm and reestablish a false sense of you that keeps your heritage just out of reach in the past. Again, how can you give, except like him, if you would know his gift to you? Give then, without limit and without end, to learn how much he has given you. You must become like him in order to experience him being what he is relative to you. You must learn to fit in with reality. Your ability to accept him depends on what? Your willingness to give as he gives. I know, you all give a lot. Some of you give kindness, some of you give love, and some of you give hell to each other. You give them hell, you know. For their own good, you give them hell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make the gift. But that's not a gift like God gives. God extends the acknowledgement of what you are to you in the recognition that He is all there is to you. God sees Himself in you, and that's the gift He gives to you. And you must learn to give like Him. Your fatherhood and your capital F Father are one. You see? But of course, as long as you're behind the point of perfection and advancing toward it, well, you can't see how you could possibly be one, nor can you see how it could be much benefit to you in your struggle of becoming a successful orphan. And of course, the reason you can't see how it's relevant is because it's not relevant. You will never get God's help in proving to you that you are actually not His son or daughter, that you're actually an orphan. Your fatherhood and your Father are one. You're already at the point of perfection. God willed to create, and your will is His. Because, again, there's no place to go out and get some black market will. If you've got will, it's His. You might be using it poorly, unlike Him, and causing your self-distress by it, but nevertheless, your will is His. That doesn't mean your will belongs to Him. It means that His will is the only will you have available to you, and the nature of your will is identical to the Father's. And it is what demonstrates your sonhood or daughterhood and returns you to your right mind. Continuing, it follows then that you will to create, since your will follows from His, and being an extension of His will, yours must be the same. See, again, you're at the point of perfection, and you must understand yourself therefrom. You must stop trying to use the truth or connect with God so that you can be less behind the point of perfection, or so that you can advance toward it better and faster. You must stop trying to connect with the truth so that you will be a better prodigal son or daughter, or let's say a prodigal son or daughter who's doing better at coming home. Because the key emphasis is on being a prodigal. And if you're going to say that you're not already at home, if you're going to believe that you're not already at home, and that you're working to get home, you will maintain the lie, the deception, that covers up the fact that you're already home. And you will continue to wander lost.